Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. US markets were down about 0.4% as the deadlock there between the Democrats and the Republican continues, and it remains to be seen how long this continues, as we have far more important event of the debt ceiling which is coming up on 17th of October. Also, if this deadlock continues for a little longer period of time, then the implications for the emerging markets are that there is going to be some amount of delay in the tapering, because it would have some impact on the GDP and it will have something on the slowdown there. So that is definitely viewed a bit positive for the emerging markets in terms of flows perspective, and which is why we are seeing some stability coming back into most of the markets since day before yesterday. Also, the private sector job data that came out from US were below expectations. The private sector added only about 1,67,000 jobs versus the expectations of about 1,80,000, which also had its impact on the market. European markets, most of them were down marginally, about 0.25% or thereabouts, as the ECB has kept its policy rates unchanged, and there is a feel that the overall growth across the Eurozone has not been very visible, so they might continue with its accommodative stance for a little longer period of time as per Mario Draghi. Only case in point was that the Italy had run up about almost 1.25%, as a current ruling party managed to win the clear mandate, and that definitely lifted the sentiment. When we look at the Asian markets today morning, China and South Korea, both the markets are shut, but most of the other markets are opening up on a flattish note, and SGX Nifty is also suggesting that we are going to open up about 25 to 30 points higher, somewhere around 5865 or thereabouts. In terms of flows, day before yesterday, FIs were net sellers in the cash market to the tune of about 100 odd crore. The domestic institutions were buyers to the tune of 125 crore, and in the index futures, we have seen selling of about 350 crore. On Monday, we started off on a weak or shaky note, but thereafter there was a bit of a recovery across markets, and there is definitely a feel that there is not going to be too much of an issue with respect to the current budget impasse in US for the emerging markets, and which is why we are seeing some stability. On that note, let me invite Shaival to take us through important F&O cues, data and ideas that we can have on the F&O side.
Good morning friends, let's have a view at derivatives. Friends, in Tuesday's trade we have seen that as soon as the market opened on the higher side, it gave up its gain due to the news of US shutdown, but after that fall, markets have recovered throughout the day and has ended with a gain of almost 0.5%. Now during this course of time, what we have seen is that around 4.72 lakh shares were reduced in open interest, with a decrease in the cost of carry, which is clearly indicating that with rise in the market participants have booked profit in, and we have seen that the PCR ratio has increased from 1.01 to 1.05 as good amount of addition has taken place on the put side. It's clearly visible on the put side in the strikes of 5,600 and 5,400, followed by 5,800, whereas on the call side 5,900, 6,100 and 6,200 call option has seen good amount of activity. But interestingly, strike of 5,800 and strike of 5,900 call as well as put option has seen good amount of activity. So probably this would be the level that we'll need to watch on, and what we feel is that the pullback rally in the market may continue up to 5,900 levels. And from intraday perspective, one can go long on Zee Entertainment Limited by maintaining a stop loss of 230 rupees 0.45 paisa. Thank you.
Here are the important news and events that we are tracking today. First of all, the auto numbers that came out for the month of September were pretty muted overall, but Hero MotoCorp reported a growth of 16% due to low base, and that number was definitely very good. Also, TVS Motors reported a double-digit growth of almost about 16% to about 1.97 lakh units, and it was also better than expectations. Maruti Suzuki also reported better than expected numbers, and their number was about 1.05 lakh units, which was almost about 12% kind of a growth YOY, mainly driven by the Dzire and the Swift sales. And Mahindra Tractor division grew by almost about 33% to about 26,637 units, and which was way above expectations. However, the automotive sales declined 10% to almost about 43,829 units. There is going to be an interministerial body of Telecom Commission which is going to have its meet today to discuss the modalities of the third round of spectrum auction, which is likely to be held in January 2014. NMDC is looking at acquiring a stake in an Indonesian thermal coal mine which is owned by Renuka Coal Indo, which is basically producing the minerals from that particular region. And the Steel Authority of India reported extremely good sales number for the last month, and it grew by almost 16%. This is after a 14% growth that they reported in the previous month. Ashok Leyland has sold its testing and engineering services arm to US-based company Exova for an undisclosed sum, and the government has favored banning of all kinds of gutkha products, and however, there has not been any proposal to ban the cigarette per se. Jet Airways finally has got the approval from the SEBI to do the divestment of its stakes to Etihad, and there is not going to be any open offer, so one can go long on Jet Airways with the stop loss of 363 and a target about 381 to about 388. Glenmark Pharma has been in talks to another company in US to sell its oral contraceptive product division. So one can go long on Glenmark Pharma with a stop loss of 526 and a target of about 553 to about 564. Hindalco Industries is in talks to sell off its mining unit operating out of Queensland. So one can go long on Hindalco with a stop loss of 109 and a target of about 114 to about 170. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great trading session and see you tomorrow at the same time.